little pause on the broadcast. So now there's something with the internet. There we go. So we're talking about Disney, and what's not going on is Disney 50 years ago, or a little more than 50 years ago, made a deal with Florida, the state of Florida. They made a contract with the state of Florida and said, look, we bought these 27,000 acres. 27,000 acres. Let's do a little simple math here. I remember 27,000 acres. So let's, 27,000. And then divide it by 640 acres to the square mile. That's 41 square miles. 41 square miles of property. And said, look, it's in the middle of frickin' nowhere. We got to excavate all kinds of stuff to, get rid of the swamp and this and that, and you're going to let me do that and keep the birds and the bees people away from me. So deep into the middle of this 42 square miles, they have a road that goes all the way into this little circle there. And they said, look, we are going to provide the purified water, purified well water to anybody that works or lives here. We are going to provide the fire protection. We are going to provide full police protection. We're going to have our own police and our own firemen and our own, we're going to provide our own water. We're going to provide our own electricity. And, so we're going to be a self-contained unit. So we don't need any of the county or the state services to operate this 42 square mile area. So therefore, we don't want to be taxed like everyone else is taxed, because we're not going to use any of your services. We don't need any of your services. So we're going to call this a special taxing district. Sign right here. So in exchange for that, we're going to invest billions of dollars in developing this into Disney World with all the exhibits, and we're going to expect, with the whole Disney World complex, like at least 100,000 visitors a day. We'll start off with the Magic Kingdom, which will be about 35,000 people a day. And, so they've been going on their happy way for 50 years until DeSantis comes along and says, what do you mean you're not paying for fire and police protection? Well, they're providing their own fire and police protection. They're hiring their own officers. They have all their own vehicles. And, we're going to have our own police department, our own fire department, and it's going to provide security services to operate this private property. And all of a sudden, Santa says, oh, no, you shouldn't be special. You should pay just like everyone else. Well, they shouldn't pay like everyone else, because that was the promise, a contractual promise that was provided for Disney in exchange for investing several $billion worth of improvements to the property, not to mention the 10,000 employees. Okay. So, That's what's going on with Disney in the state of Florida and DeSantis. So we'll see what happens. What does porn wear? Oh, God, I can imagine. We're not going to go into that now. Lip reader claims King Charles complained to Queen Camilla at the coronation. Yeah, because she kept on moaning and groaning about Prince Harry being there. Come on, get over it. You're queen. And he's looking out the window. Doesn't look very happy. And there's lots of speculation about, the new iPhone, its cameras and all that, which I'll get into. It's going to have a periscope lens. And it's going to be exclusively installed inside the Pro Max camera. We know that. And there's a rendition of the prismatic. You see right here? The light comes through this face of the prism and then reflects off this angled face. And the light goes whoosh, sideways inside the camera. These are the lenses that operate the zoom, but instead of having to go this way, which would make for a big lens coming out, it's going to perform its zoom function inside. The zoom is going to be inside the camera body or somewhere. So they'll move stuff around and make room for this. There's the imager itself. Has some kind of filter in front of that. And they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lenses. And the prism with a glass front up here. That's probably sapphire. And then here's another traditional lens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 6 elements. So that's pretty much what they call pencils down. Put your pencil down. There is no more engineering experiments with this phone. Pencil is 100% battery. You just saw that pop up there. Look up on the top of this picture. Here it goes. There it is, the 100% battery. That's amazing. There's an electromagnet there, and it traps that pencil. And you can draw. I don't know if it'll let me. Yeah, no. Okay, so we're going to go to the next nice picture of those beasts. Another one closer up. The House Oversight and Accountability Committee says the Biden family and its business associates have created more than 20 companies that don't seem to provide any product or service, and they've received more than $10 million from foreign nationals while Biden served as vice president, and that some of the payments could indicate attempts by the final plan to peddle influence. That's called public corruption. Now, and they're going to pass all that stuff on to the Justice Department. And what are they going to do with it? They're going to probably sit on it and do nothing. And then James Comer, Republican representative of Kentucky, released a memo ahead of this press conference Wednesday that includes all this information about influence peddling and business schemes. Probably probably didn't pay taxes on this 10 million, and other things. It's always the tax man that gets you. Now, there's some taxes that Biden's son should have paid, and some wealthy donor paid it for him, loaned him the money and paid for his taxes. But you got grandchildren that received money. You got 9 different Biden family members that all received little pieces of this 10 million. In the most sophisticated plan in the history of our nation. And they have issued subpoenas and all this kind of stuff. So that's what this little clip is talking about. All right, Microsoft just made a huge, far from certain bet on nuclear fusion. Here is a nuclear fusion reactor that operates, and they want it to produce, the engineers that are dealing with this, they want to be able to plug it into the grid. Now, nuclear fusion, in case you've forgotten, is where you got these particle accelerators, and you can get out of here. You can see that this piece gets bolted on into a particle accelerator, and once you break some atoms, it produces energy forever, and it just completely with nuclear fusion creates an ongoing source of energy, heat, and then that's converted into electricity. They plug it into the grid. So if they make 20 of these things, 100 of these things, whatever number, and place them all around the United States in populated areas, plug them into the grid, our grid would then be, more flexible, and with the theory that eventually you can turn off some of these energy generators that we have around the country that emit toxic fumes into our atmosphere. So in theory, over a period of time, now this power thing would by 2028, which is only 4 years from now, would be in the grid. So that's the story there. 3 hours ago, yesterday, and from The Verge, the magazine, magazine The Verge. There's a picture of it, a little expanded view. So they've taken this out of the particle accelerator, thing, and you can see, this finely finished machine, finely machined piece of stainless steel, has all these holes in there where they can put bolts in there and seal it into the particle accelerator. And they've taken it out because this is the fission part, the fusion part. Nuclear fission is where atoms keep, splitting and splitting and splitting, and it's like a spontaneous, energy. And then you got, it's down underwater, and they put rods on there to control the temperature, because it's a constant reaction. But that's fission. This is fusion. Where things get, squeezed into place, and energy is released, and it's a constant source of energy that is the opposite of fission. Fission and fusion. See, this is F-U-S-I-O-N, nuclear fusion. 40 years ago when I was in school, this was a dream. Today, they're talking about a contract with whoever is doing this, which doesn't really say in this article as I scan it quickly. But Microsoft is buying it on the promise. The company is Helion Energy. Here it is. Helion. Helion Energy. Not helium, it's Helion. I-O-N. Not helium. There we have the picture of it again. All right. Tesla has achieved its goal of 5,000 Model Ys a week out of its newly constructed gigafactory in Texas. It wants to produce 1 million vehicles. So, 5,000 cars a week. I mean, that's a lot of tires. Just think of the tires. Four tires for, they have a constant shipment of tires. Then they have to get installed on rims, and you got several rim choices. That's something else. But, the supply channel, just for the tires, comes in from the trucks, gets stacked in some kind of a warehouse thingy, then comes down a chute, and then gets married to rims, and then eventually gets put down the factory line, and it produces, gets stuck on the car that's in fabrication, like separately from the rubber and the rims, and then the balancing of the wheels, all that stuff. Anyway, that's all part of this. So I'm just giving you a single example of the supply chain. Now you got all kinds of chips. You got light bulbs. You got seats. Someone makes the seats, and then they buy the seats, and all the seats, And of course you got white seats and you got black seats. Anyway, supply chain is just shocking to produce 5,000. Just think of it. That's, the front seats and the back seats. My God, just think of all the seating material that is required to produce 5,000 cars a week. And that'll be going up. 5,000, 5,100, 5,300. Anyway, I have my Model Y and love it with hardware called Hardware 3, which stylizes the size of the computer, not the physical size, but the contents of the computer, how fast it is, how many flip-flops it can do per second. Anyway, they've come up with hardware version 4, which has a higher capacity computer that's like 10, 20, 50 times faster than the present computer. And then all high definition cameras instead of the standard definition cameras, whatever that means. And a high definition radar mounted underneath the license plate in the front of the car, which can see under the cars in front of it and, at a low angle, even if there are no cars in front of it, which can see in, a blinding sandstorm or a blinding rainstorm or a blinding snowstorm, the radar can still see ahead. Whereas the cameras, it is only so fast they can do the windshield wipers, that are going. Yeah. But the radar can see what's going on because it uses, high frequency and bouncing off and all that kind of stuff. They had radar in front, and then they decided, I don't need radar, I got all these cameras in front. And the software engineer says, I don't think so. I want the radar because in bad weather, we can't see what's going on with just cameras. Come on. We don't have windshield wipers on our eyeballs. We can blink, but those cameras can't blink. Okay, anyway, moving right along. This is the Nikon new camera, the Z9. This gives you an idea. It's got a 45.7 megapixel stacked CMOS sensor. Remember, Canon came out with the R5 a year ago, and Nikon is now catching up. Similar features to the capability of the R5 Canon camera, which we happen to have an R5 camera and an R1 camera. The R1 camera is a 30 million pixel imager that you can shoot, 8 frames a second, whatever. And the R5 has a 45 million pixel imager that can shoot like 20 frames a second. And it's really a thing of beauty. I have it sitting over here next to me. But we'll talk about maybe those cameras at another day. Let's just pay along. Yep, see, there it is. There's the Z9, right? Yeah, Z8, Z9. This is this may be the Z8, which has most of the features of the Z9. I had to come up with something, so there it is. Looking down on top of it, the Z8 is a match for the Z9, with essentially all the larger camera's features and capabilities duplicated in a smaller body. Okay, so that's why the Z8, see right there, it has a smaller body than the Z9, but the same features. Okay, more compact. Okay. Now we have, in a world of science and technology, moving over to electric cars or electric boats, all kinds of electric things instead of the gasoline internal combustion engine devices. They're working on the sodium-ion battery, which, as opposed to the lithium batteries. So now we're going to talk about sodium. Now, sodium is one of the most common elements on Earth because the ocean is made up of water with sodium chloride in there, salt water. So they can take the sodium out of the salt water with a manufacturing process. So lithium-ion batteries are everywhere, and now we have the advent of the sodium battery, which will last 100 years, recharge faster, and have more energy per pound. Let's just put it that way. That's the promise of the sodium-ion battery, and they're working on it. I don't know exactly what this guy's doing. I'm going to expand that a little bit. I can't see what he's doing. Anyway, they have an article about all that, and you can pick that up by going to CNBC, some keywords in the search engine, CNBC, and then just put sodium-ion battery in there, and the article will pop up, which you can read. It's lengthy articles. It gets a little technical, but anybody can read it, including Jimmy. All right. suit filed against the Treasury Secretary Yellen, challenging the debt limit law as a congressional standoff threatens default. So she's the one that provides all the money. So they're suing her just to have her come up with some reasoning. Here is a terrifying close-up of a deep-sea shark. And if we go like that, see the teeth? Yeah, man. Whew. They're razor sharp, and they grab a piece of your leg and just rip it off. And it's because those teeth are so sharp and strong, and the whipping action of the shark, you just rip off a piece of meat. And, have a nice little bite of, not leg of lamb, the leg of Jimmy. No! Yeah, so that's the whole article about that. That's a visual of the shark underwater. Deep sea. That's, like 1,000 feet deep, something, real deep sea. Maybe 500 feet deep. I forget how many feet, but it's deep, as opposed to the sharks, that you see flopping around in the water that, on the surface of the water, that maybe go down 30 or 40 feet, and then come on, live in that territory. Deep sea is hundreds of feet underwater. And DeSantis is accusing Biden of bowing to border cartels while sitting around doing nothing. And people are just flowing in. And the cities, the blue cities, are crying, desperately because they can't stand it. And you got governors, like the governor of Texas, who keeps busing all these people into the, these sanctuary cities. And sanctuary states like New York State, New York City. It's like saying, no more, please. Yeah, well, that's what DeSantis is talking about. Then shut the border down. Just close the door. All right, how do the Trumps really feel about Kimberly Guilfoyle? Because she's like the fiancée of Donald Trump Jr., who's a pretty sharp critter, and she was, a delightful person to have on, Fox the 5 and so forth. I believe she was, when she resigned, as soon as she, it was publicly known that she was dating the son of the president-to-be, because she started dating him before Trump was president, but running for president in 2015, quite a few years ago. And she walked away from a salary of $800,000 from Fox News television. $800K. She said, man, all right, I'll walk away from it. I'm going to stick with the son of the president. And that's, so she made a lot of money. She has her own wealth and a couple of kids and, married to the former governor of California. And there's a whole story there. Guilfoyle has been engaged to Donald Trump Jr., the eldest son of President Donald Trump, since 2020. Well, they got engaged in 2020, but they were dating since before he was actually president. When the pair eventually ties the knot, it will mark her third marriage overall. Previous unions with Democratic California Governor Gavin Newsom, which ended in 2006. And Eric Valenci, who she divorced in 2009, has one son with Valencia. None with Gavin Newsom, apparently. So, that's it. A little further story about that, which you can read at your pleasure. Melania Trump has made it official that she's happy being President Trump's wife during his campaign in 2024. This is Ivanka Trump, Trump's daughter, very close advisor to Donald Trump. Attractive young lady. In her mid-30s, I believe, yeah. There's Guilfoyle and Donald Trump Jr. You know, they're all, you know, when you're in this, they're all, and this is number one son, number two son. She's married to him. She's engaged to him. But they're, you know, they're all like celebrities. They all have security, you know, 24/7, you know, to protect them against people trying to violate their privacy. Powerful billionaire turns his back on Florida Governor DeSantis. Big donors are worried about the prospects of the man who not long ago was seen as Donald Trump's most serious opponent in GOP. You know, he is a serious opponent, but the polls keep widening, and he hasn't really declared. And the Florida session apparently has ended, and it's time for him to declare and have a formal announcement and get on with that. Yesterday, as of 1:30, she was plugged into a supercharger in Boca Raton, near her bank, on the way back from a luncheon, just to top off her tank, you know, over 130 miles. You know, get the fuel up to, you know, past 50%, because she's got a trip to West Palm Beach, round trip, the manager's meeting on Friday morning, and she doesn't want to have to worry about energy for that round trip. This is just a miscellaneous photograph of a rocket. Look at that rocket coming right out of that. There's like 6 of those, and inside the truck, and it has you know, protective shielding over its windows, and you can see it's on stanchions, and so these wheels are barely touching the ground here. You know, and it has different hydraulic things so that it's level, and inside is a computer system that has found a target using GPS. Boom, locks that into the rocket's computer, and then launches it, and then it should land on top of whatever the heck he wants to blow up. And they don't actually have to see it. This is all electronics. And you know, whoosh. Look at the fuels spent out of the back end of that tube, that cylinder, that square cylinder. There are either 4 or 6 of those boxes on that truck. And they're, you know, multi-million-dollar missiles. probably manufactured by Raytheon. That's probably a good companies like Raytheon that make these devices. Probably a good stock investment if you're looking for what could possibly be a good stock, with a market that's going in the toilet, is munitions, because you got a war going on. The United States is is using up its inventory of such missiles, giving them to selling them, giving them whatever. With the Ukrainian war against Russia. So we're providing all these materials. We're not providing and training for the people that are inside the cab of that truck to show them how to, launch a rocket. That's why that's there. Now here's our stealth aircraft in a hangar, and they're doing something to it. Here's like a step ladder that was on wheels that's floating around there, so it can polish up the material that's on the outside of that stealth bomber. Okay, well, what is this? Oops. We can't tell from... Let's go to the next picture. There we go. It's a Model 45 that uses 9mm. See, that's 9mm Ruger ammunition. Oh, and that's a hollow point. You can see it's drilled out, and it's got. You can see slits all the way around the drilling. It's got like a copper metal jacket. Full metal jacket, hollow point. Whew, flies through the air, and then it's spinning very rapidly. A lot of energy comes out. It's got a 1,200 foot per second muzzle velocity, which goes down to like 900 feet per second, at about the time when it hits its target 75 feet in front of it. And when it hits, it turns and grinds the meat of the animal that it hits. Assuming it hits something with muscles and all that. The person gets in there and just rips stuff apart. You don't want to be hit with this Glock 45, which is not 45 caliber ammunition. It's 9mm. Model 17, 19, Model 45 are all 9mm guns, handguns. 15 round, 16 round magazine capacity. There's the other side of it. There's Model 19 with its cartridges, which holds 15. 15 in the clip, one in the barrel, total of 16. Model 19 Glock. Here's the 45. With and with, this is a 19X. This is the 45. The Model 45 has the full grip like the 17 and the shorter slide like in the Model 19. And that's why they call it the Model 45. It's got a slightly bigger grip than the 19, but the same slide, 5-inch barrel, I believe. There's a Model 17. See, full grip, full slide. Whoops, sorry, 5.5-inch barrel. I have one of those. This is Model 43. This is a 3.5-inch barrel. It's got an optical sight on there. And a little more compact grip. This is like those that you don't want to stick it in their stomach. Slightly shorter barrel, slightly shorter grip, you know. Here's the Model 45, the slightly bigger gun, and it's got installed on there a light, Superfire light, a little thumb knob on there to turn the light on and off. Very bright light emitting diode with lithium battery in there to give it a lot of power for that light. It's a blinding light if it's shining on you. And you know, when it's on a gun where you can go and then shoot, 16 rounds, you want to say, whoops, I'm good. Goodbye, I'm turning around. So Elon Musk claims that he's going to keep an eye on Tucker Carlson's show and see if he says anything misleading. So that's what that little article is about. Since he owns Twitter, he's going to keep an eye on Tucker. Make sure he's, not what everyone in the left is complaining about. But, it's also free speech. There's a Model Y. Driving. Nice picture. New car. Is the Model Y worth the investment? Model Y maintenance costs. Well, the warranty covers everything for the first 3 years. Now we've driven our car. Let's give you some proof. There's the Tesla app. We are logging into Marilyn's car right now. It's parked. It's got 135 miles worth of energy. It's got a software download, which we haven't downloaded, which is minor fix-ups and things. The cabin temperature is presently 87 degrees because I have cabin overheat protection on, and keep it 90 degrees or under. And if you don't have that on, it'll get up to 130. Interior temperature, 87. Exterior, 91. Well, that's because of the feature that I have. Uses up a couple of miles in range, but at least your car, inside of your car is not a million degrees. So when you open up the door, it's not like you got the belch of 140 degree air going in your face. And when the car runs real low in energy, like around 20%, the cabin overheat protection feature is disabled because it doesn't want to. When you're at 20% energy, 20% miles and so forth, you don't want to use the energy needed to keep the cabin cool while you're in the office or having lunch. And it's 9, what time is it? It's 11:42, so we can see that it's located at 8101 Okeechobee Boulevard. So maybe this is a manager meeting. It's today. Yeah, and she charged it yesterday, so she could be up in West Palm Beach today. And see Wellington and all that West Palm Beach stuff. So she's up there near Haverhill. So this is an office. You can just keep zeroing in on this. There it is on the north side of Okeechobee. There's a office building there. Standalone. And that's where she's having an office meeting right now with all the uppity-ups. Her senior management team. She should be in the senior management team. But, she's acquired because she was, at a bank that was acquired. And she's melded in perfectly. But anyway, so that's the story about that is Okeechobee Boulevard, 87-degree overheat protection is engaged, and we're talking about maintenance. We haven't needed any roadside assistance. Here's your service in case you want to service history. I had 3 appointments, August, September, and December, basically to rotate the tires. And the car's driving perfectly. There's no rumble with the out of balance wheels. So we haven't had any service, none. And we've driven at 13,144 miles. 13,000 miles, no service. I've looked at all the books. I've spoken to Tesla people. They say, hey, if none of the lights come on for service, you really don't need service. And, if you find the tires are running out of rubber, so, you can rotate the tires. I inspect the tires. The tires are beautiful. I got them up to 38 pounds per square inch. They want 42. So I could put 4 pounds of pressure in each tire and bring that up to 42 psi. Basically 3 bars. There's a European pressure method called the bar, B-A-R. 1 bar is 1 atmospheric pressure. That's 14 pounds per square inch. So that would be filling up the tire with essentially no pressure. It's just the pressure of the outside atmosphere. So 2 bars is 2 atmospheric pressures. So that's 14 pounds per square inch times 2. That makes it 28 pounds. 3 bar is about 42 pounds per square inch. So they want a 3 bar. And people that aren't familiar with bar, it's 42 pounds per square inch. Anyway, so, and I can see, I'm looking to see how I can show you. Lockbox. Oh, here it is. So when you hit controls, and then see the wheel up here in the upper right corner, there's a wheel with PSI, just press that. And it shows 2 hours ago, the pressure inside the tires was 38 PSI, just 37, 38. So they have it in PSI. Recommended cold pressure 42 psi. You You can see it right on there. They're a little under that. So I have a compressor right here, which I want to put back in the trunk. It's a those batteries. Ouch. It runs on a very neat. Let's try this in here. The batteries are the kind of batteries that operate my electric drills, electric screwdrivers, electric saws. Damn it. This is gonna make me crazy. Let me just grab a battery. See if I can grab it. Move this wire all the way over here. There it is. Got a charger over there. A couple batteries. And this will tell me. DeWalt. I was thinking Duquesne, but it's DeWalt. And this is, I'll show you. Because I'll put on my, that's not hard. I guess I've lost the connectivity for that. All right. And here's the okay, so anyway, that's what I want to show you. You can see right here, 13,144 miles. My service cost, $0. Anyway, so my pump is a DeWalt pump. And it produces, it fills up the tire rather quickly. So I'll stand next to the tire for about 2 or 3 minutes and it'll be up to charge. This is a DeWalt lithium battery. It weighs about a pound. You can hit this button right here. All 3 lights light up. That's the battery. And there's probably one of these already on the pump. This is a 20 volt battery. 2 ampere hours at 20 volts. That's 40 watt hours. Yeah. 20 times 2 is 40. These are very high energy lithium batteries. They're a bunch of round cells. Probably 18 650 cells. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. Yeah. Oh, that's That's what's going on there. Let's get out of here. Back to my photos. Anyway, so maintenance cost, nothing. You don't have any oil to change. You don't have any water in the only thing you got to do is add, I've added a couple of gallons of water to the windshield wiper. You open up the hood and there's a thing where you can pour, so I pour in distilled water for the windshield wiper when you spray the windshield. Mosquito, uh-oh. Yep. There's apparently some soaps that people use that mosquitoes don't like. We should, yeah. And here we are at Thursday, May 11th. AU football practice will start pretty soon. There's Iger. A couple years ago at Disney. He's come in. He's a smart guy, and he surrounds himself with smart people. And I think DeSantis is making a huge mistake going after Disney because he doesn't like the woke part, which apparently is infiltrating the entire Disney company, which owns Walt Disney World. But, freedom of speech for a private company is like freedom of speech for a private person. And you can't weaponize the Florida government against Disney because you don't like what it says. That's not freedom of speech. And if it goes to the Supreme Court, I'll bet you 10 cents that what I'm saying is true. That'll be upheld by the highest court in the land if it has to get there. Okay, a vet. This comes out of the Mirror by the United Kingdom, UK. You see Mirror Company, UK. Amber O'Connor says, for many of us, our pets are part of the family. But it's important not to treat your pooches like children, a vet warns. So don't treat your pups like children. Treat them like little dogs. So, remember I told you that you hold on the picture, and when you do that, you see how there's like like it's going to go into hyperspace. Look at this. Doing? You see that? Okay. The one thing I was forgetting a couple of days ago is when you do this, it'll actually remove the dog from the background. Boing. And then when you let go, it says copy. Well, you need to copy it. And then you can go anywhere, like in my gym thing here, and I can put my finger on there, and then I can paste it. Come on, baby, paste. Did I touch it right? Paste. Did it get in there? Come on. Oh, God. This is like torture. I don't know why it doesn't, boing. Copy. Paste. There it is. See, the dog has been removed from the background. And now I just have a picture of the dog. And of course I can download that. It's there now. Download it. Or I can touch it and look at that. See, there's the pooch. But the background didn't come along with it. Okay. That's just a little example of what you can do. Now, if I want to just edit, you could copy the picture. I'm going to cancel this. And copy the whole picture. I'm not going to do it. This is part of a picture. And I could just crop it and make it, all right. 59 minutes and 23 seconds. We're going to wrap this up, I think. I've been on here an hour before we get into the Trumpisms. So let me say good night. And I hope you all have a great day. I don't see a way of getting out of this. All right, it's there. That's as good as I can do. So I wish you have a nice lunch. It's coming up on 12. And it's 3 minutes to 12, so you can hurry up and sneak out and go to lunch. Meantime, you all have a great afternoon.